Alright guys, so recently I did a campaign review for Call of Duty Cold War, and so today we're going to be looking at the multiplayer and zombies, and we're going to start off with multiplayer because one, that's what most people play, and mainly because that's where most of the problems are. So the first thing I guess we'll talk about is the content as compared to Modern Warfare. And so yes, Modern Warfare is one of the first Call of Duties to do their free content. This game is also doing it, but just from a base standpoint, just with the amount of content that the game started with, this game has a lot less content than Modern Warfare. Mainly due to the beta, at least in my opinion. 6 of the 8 maps that are in the game, I am not counting smaller versions of bigger maps as individual maps, but 6 of the 8 maps that are in the game were in the beta, so really on launch there were only 2 new maps. Pushing that over to guns, there was only 1 new gun in each class. I believe there's about 5 guns, less depending on the class. Modern Warfare, I believe, had 5 in every class, including sniper rifles and LMGs and marksman rifles. I think all those classes in this game have about 3 or 4 on launch. And yes, they're adding all of this stuff and more of it later, but we're talking about launch right now. And so, content-wise, those are the 2 main big problems. But the game also has other problems. And so if we look at things just like bugs and glitches, well, the game crashes constantly. I would say I probably have, playing this all day, 2 or 3 crashes. And I don't mean the game shuts off and I have to reopen it. I mean my entire Xbox shuts down and I have to restart my Xbox. And so that's one of the big problems, but that's more than zombies, and we'll get to that when we talk about zombies. But another problem that this game has is just bugs, and not the typical Call of Duty bugs, like design flaw type bugs. Now, don't get me wrong, there are those typical Call of Duty bugs, a gun being way too overpowered, or stuff not saving, your level and progression not displaying right, all types of crap like that. But just some bugs like, for example, this is Crossout Strike, I think is the name of the map, or it's a smaller version of a bigger map. They have 2 of these, the boat map and the snow map. They're just small versions of bigger maps. And on these maps in particular, along with some other maps, which are, I'll talk about more later, the kill streaks, stuff like chopper gunner, gunship, the ones that circle around the map, don't work well. They are designed to fly in a circle around the map, but they aren't refined, I guess, for these smaller maps to fly around the small section. So you can get a chopper gunner or a gunship, and it's going to fly around the entire big map. And when you're playing on these smaller sections of these big maps, your kill streak is so far away that you cannot hit what you're shooting at. You're just so far away. They need to refine that flight path of the kill streak to cover that small area. And I guess while we're on that, we can talk about this game feels like it has a lot more interior levels than Modern Warfare and just all of the Call of Duties. I felt that a majority, I would say 70% of the maps, I struggle to find a place to call my kill streaks where I'm not just going to be hitting a ceiling or something like that. Other than Satellite, obviously, a large majority of these maps are vastly inside, and that's not a bad thing. Just for kill streaks, it's not the most viable option. And so, if we're going to move on from all of that stuff and get into the actual review of multiplayer, it's multiplayer. It's Call of Duty multiplayer. Not Modern Warfare multiplayer. It's not that. Modern Warfare is its own thing. Don't associate that with Call of Duty. While it is Call of Duty, that is its own thing, right? This feels very much like the past couple of years of Call of Duty. There's very limited guns. The maps, I will say, are much better than the launch maps on Modern Warfare. But again, that's another broken thing that I feel like needs to be fixed, is a lot of the maps, whether it be in Modern Warfare or any other Call of Duty game, always had this kind of energy in the hardpoint domination type game modes, and pretty much every game like this has the same type of layout where you take A, the enemies take C, and you fight for B. But on a majority of Cold War maps, that's not the case, right? You take C, the enemy takes A, whatever your spawn objective is. You fight over B for maybe the first minute of the match, and then one team is just spawn camping the other team. And then it flips. When you get hit halftime, the other team gets the good side, and they spawn camp the team in the bad spawn. And so, again, this happens in other Call of Duty games, don't get me wrong, this isn't something unique to Cold War, but the amount it happens is, I feel like, a problem within Cold War. A lot of the maps Particularly, again, the indoor ones have just, preferred spawns. This one just has better angles, it has better spots to hold, has more covered routes, and it's just a better spawn overall. I think a couple of maps, especially Satellite, could use more cover in it. And speaking of cover, let's move over to the camos, because for those people that like to grind camos, this might annoy you. So if you're one of the people like me that likes to max level all of your guns and max level all of the camos, and that's really what you do, you can't just play to play, you need some source of progression within the game. So the camos this time around, while there are traditional challenges like headshots, kills, bloodthirsties, stuff like that, there's some really non-traditional ones that I feel are rather impossible to do. Like, for example, with assault rifles, you have to either stun or have enemies detected by a UAV or field mic and kill them while in that stun or detected state. And this took me a good majority of an entire day of playing. And I mean, that along with some challenges like killing enemies behind cover, I would say it's, I believe, 75 kills for the final camo in that category. And I probably got 300 kills in the games I played just to get those 75 behind cover. So it is much more grindy, and it feels like a lot more stuff that you just don't have control over. Now, again, if you like that and you want the camos to be a bit harder to get, then that's fine, but I feel like some of those things need to be changed. I need to have complete control over what I can do to get my camos, but that's just my opinion. You guys let me know how you feel about that. So one of the last things I want to talk about in multiplayer is just the progression overall of your character and your guns, because the battle pass isn't here yet, and we might talk about that when that comes out. But, so, if we look at how progression in guns work, especially if you look at Modern Warfare, again, once the season would reset in Modern Warfare, even though the max level was 155, really you're only going up 100 levels. And so here you're only going up 55 levels, and that 55 levels does feel very long. And again, I don't think the progression feels longer than Modern Warfare, and that's not really what's broken. It's more the gun progression. I would say in a single season of Modern Warfare, I would not hit max level, usually, of that 155, but I could level up pretty much every gun, right? I've leveled up 3-4 guns a season before. It was very doable. In Cold War, they kind of have a problem with gun progression. Right now, I am about Prestige 1, level 20-ish, and the progression is broken once you Prestige, so you can't see what level you are, but I'm around Prestige 1, level 20, and I've only leveled up to max level and gotten all of the camos for one gun. That means, just by the time I finish the assault rifles, I will be 5th Prestige, if not higher. You see where I'm going with this? By the time I finish the SMGs, I'm going to be max rank in the game. So I think the speed at which you level up the guns, even with double XP, needs to be increased. I don't want to be stuck, having no progression, nothing to earn, no way to level up, when I still have more than half the guns to do. Now, zombies is a whole nother story. If we look at zombies, and particularly, let me explain, I guess, how I prefer zombies. Typically, I prefer Black Ops 2, I almost said Modern Warfare 2, sit in the house and just defend against waves of enemies, zombies. I don't mind Easter eggs and kind of having the mission and all that crap to do, but when you get to the level of like Black Ops 2 Origins or even Black Ops 3 and 4, that's just too much. You're doing too much, the maps are too big, I don't want to think that hard, alright? And personally, I feel like this Zombies is the perfect middle, alright? They have the resources and the style of map and the size of map in order to just make it fun to just play and survive, and the actual Easter egg and the completion, I guess, of Zombies isn't insanely long or complicated. While it is, I think, a tad bit too long. I would say it took us probably 5 3 to 4 hour sessions of playing Zombies to figure it out. But again, and that's with following a tutorial, but again, I don't think it's too crazy. I think it's doable. We've done it twice now, but it is very fun. And so, along with that, I do want to say that I don't know how I feel about the fact that you get to bring your own weapon. It doesn't make that big of a difference because there's rarities within zombies, which again, I do like a lot. You could bring a M4, but if you get a green pistol from the box in the beginning wave, that's going to be better, or a blue pistol or purple pistol. You know what I'm saying? And so with all these different rarities of weapons, it doesn't make anything that you bring in too OP or just absolutely destroying zombies to where you do have to go to the box and buy guns and all that stuff still. And, all of the perks are here that you love. There are some that are missing, like double tap, but you got speed, cold, quick revive, juggernaut, stamina up, and then a couple of new ones too that are a bit confusing to figure out what they do, but once you get them and understand, they are pretty good. And from there, I guess, what's kind of the end game of zombies, if you will, once you beat it, what's your point of playing it? And so you get skill points, and I believe they did something similar like this in Black Ops 3. And Black Ops 4 Zombies I literally played once, so I won't say anything about that. But they have these skill points, or crystals, whatever you want to call them, that you get from playing and doing different achievements, like lasting different rounds and all of that stuff. And so as you get different skill points, you can upgrade your stuff and just make it better. And again, it's nothing overpowered, like start with a ray gun or anything like that. It's just assault rifles do more damage, SMGs do more damage, shotguns do more damage, Juggernaut gives you more health, Speed Cola helps you switch weapons faster, it's when you melee you use a knife instead of your fist, just stuff like that. That makes it a bit easier, but nothing too overpowered. Now, I will say Zombies definitely has a problem. I would say out of the 4 times I believe I've extracted, it's crashed my Xbox 3 times. And again, not just close the game, completely restart my Xbox from the loading screen, I go all the way back to the beginning, reopen my Xbox, reconnect to the internet, and it can be rough. Now, another thing while we're on extracting that a lot of people were worrying about when they heard about zombies was extracting and score streaks. And so extracting isn't as annoying as everyone thought it would be. They thought it was going to kind of be this way out to just leave and kind of you're going to be forced to stop playing, but no, you can choose when to extract, and they actually do give you a challenge of killing X amount of zombies in a particular small location. So the more players you have, the harder it's going to be for all 4 of you to work in that small ass area to kill 100 and whatever zombies in order to extract. But something I do wish they did a little bit differently was if you fail extraction, let's say you need to kill 105 and you're not all in the area, or you only kill 80, you just fail. It's like you died, essentially. I wish that instead you got to keep playing and you just had to extract at a later round, right? It wouldn't just be over. I think it would be cool if maybe if you failed, you just got a wave of all bosses, or like a super hard wave after. That way there'd at least be some kind of punishment for failing, and it's not just, oh, the game's over. But that's just me. But let's talk about score streaks within zombies, because this is something new that, again, everyone thought was going to be terrible and ruin zombies. But honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially since a large chunk of the map, and if you're doing the story stuff, the later chunk, the harder chunk, is underneath the ground, so stuff like Chopper Gunner really isn't going to help you that much, right? You can use it, again, while above ground, but 1, it doesn't give you that many points, and 2, you don't really need it. I would say it doesn't really ruin the experience, and it is expensive enough to where you can't spam it. There's other stuff in there like the combat bow and the grenade launcher, but the grenade launcher is terrible. The combat bow is alright, self-revive is pretty good, and along with that, there's your typical zombie stuff, your Pack-a-Punch, and there's 3 levels of Pack-a-Punch with different ammo types and all of that stuff. And so it is typical zombies with a little bit of a twist. And so honestly, overall, this is probably my favorite zombies since Black Ops 2. Again, I like it a lot. It's not too overly complicated. It's simple if you want it to be simple. It can be a little bit complicated if you choose to make it complicated. But the map isn't too big or anything like that to where, it gets crazy. And so that's just my opinion on multiplayer and zombies. Try to keep this one relatively short. That did not happen. You guys let me know what you think of multiplayer and zombies down in the comments below. If you haven't seen my campaign review for Cold War, go check that out. Make sure you guys subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.